Alright, so I am at Indianapolis. This is test session mode in the Cup Series this time. I'm going to try to lay down a decent lap and then talk about the lap. I have ran a 50.96 with this, which I think is pretty respectable. I don't feel like I am very good at hitting my marks here at Indy, so I feel like there's probably a little bit more speed in this if somebody's a little better at hitting the marks than I am. But I will see if I can get something at least in the 51 flats on video here, and then we can talk about the line I am using. We can talk about the setup, all that good stuff. But I like to get a lap that is close to what I have, what the best lap I have ran with the setup, to kind of prove what the setup is capable of. Then I will talk about the line and talk about the setup itself. Not sure how this lap's going to go. It's not terrible, and I'm not sure it's my best. And again, I feel like there is a little more speed in this than what I have gotten out of it. Wow, that was bad. A 51.4 almost. I didn't think my lap was that bad, but apparently it was. The stopwatch does not lie. This setup feels a little loose, but the tire wear is pretty even, and I think you need to be a little loose to get around Indy pretty fast. So there was a 51 flat, so I'm going to call that a pretty decent lap, and let's go and talk about the marks I'm using. I will tell you, let's see if I can get this thing slowed down. I'll back up a little bit. It's not a lot of marks at Indy. There just isn't. So you almost have to just get a feel for it as you drive it. Let's see if I can get going here and talk a little bit about coming in here. Shortly after I pass that white stripe, probably along about in here, and it's really hard to find anything you can look at. But there is a white stripe back here that I will back up and show you. There's actually a couple of them here, but this one right here, shortly after that, I don't know exactly how far, but I start easing into turn 2. Turn 2 to me is the hardest turn on the track because it seems like it is so much narrower in 1 and 2 than it is in 3 and 4. And 2 is especially the hard spot. You want to try to get down to the white line, but what you don't want to do is get down too soon. You get down too soon, then it seems like it's hard to keep it down. So you want to ease your way down to the white line. If you hit it right, you do not let off the throttle at all coming through turn 2. You go through a little short chute between 1 and 2, and you are just hard on the gas all the way through turn 2. You let the car drift out to the outside here. Then we're going to head down here into turn 3. There's not much of a marks to look at as far as where do you want to get off the gas and everything. There is a little bit of one, but it is, you kind of have to know that it's there, because if you wait till you're up to it, it's kind of hard. You can see the wall extends out a little bit, and a little bit before that wall starts to extend out is where I like to try to get off the gas coming into turn 3. It's really hard to see coming, especially coming down into 190 some miles an hour. But when I start to see that is when I am letting off the gas. You're kind of into the turn before you actually let off the gas. And again, 3 seems so much wider than 1, and 4 seems so much wider than 2. If you can stay by the white line, that's great, but if you're carrying too much speed and you drift up a little bit, doesn't really hurt you. You still can get a pretty decent lap. You want to get out here by the wall before you get to turn 4. You don't want to hit the wall. And then the same concept, you want to start easing your way down towards the white line. And if you can stay right on that white line all the way through 4, that's great. The idea is once you get back on the gas coming out of 3, you stay hard in it. You do not lift at all the way coming through 4. And then you're just hard on the gas again all the way down the straightaway. And then as you are coming up here, you're pretty deep in before you are letting off for turn 1. Somewhere about here, a little bit before the end of the pit road, you let off, you don't brake, and you try to get the car down near the white line. You let it settle down here, then you're hard in the gas, and you stay in the gas all the way through the short chute between 1 and 2, and all the way through turn 2, just like we started here. So there's not a lot of marks at Indy. It's really something you got to have you just got to drive it and develop a feel for where to turn the car, but there's not a lot of marks to really look at. But with that being said, let's go look at the setup. Okay. The bump and rebound settings, I never say a lot about them, but I adjust those to get the car to turn, to perform differently in specific parts of the corner, either making it turn more or less in entry, middle, or exit. And I've got separate videos that talk about adjustments for a loose or tight race car that go into detail on the bump and rebound settings. I went with a higher front weight and wedge. It seems like that's makes the car happier at Indy than going with my normal lower front weight and wedge. And again, different tracks, it seems like different setups seem to work. At Indy, the heavier front worked. The springs are pretty much normal, 1200 on the front and 500 on the left rear and 600 on the right rear. That's pretty typical of a mile and a half or bigger tracks. I did not mess with the tire pressures at all. These are the default tire pressures. It seemed to work, so I was pretty happy with that and left it. I went up a little bit on the camber for both the left and the right. Again, that helps it turn, but I didn't want to go up so much that I used up all the tires, because adjusting your camber can really wear out your tires. Sway bar is, I think, the default setting. The track bars, I went up on the track bars, not as much as I thought I was going to have to, but I went up on the track bars. And typically, if you're going higher on front weight and wedge, you got to go higher on track bar. The higher front weight and wedge makes the car tighter. The higher track bar numbers make it looser. The left track bar affects corner entry. The right track bar affects corner exit. Those are the big things there. You can get really aggressive on the grill tape because you're carrying so much speed. I guess you get so much air in or something, but you can get really aggressive on the grill tape. And the gearing, I wound up going with a 310 gear. I almost went with a 325 gear, but when I started getting the car to turn a little better, I realized I could sustain more RPMs, and the 310 I decided was the way to go. So that is the setup. Again, a 50.96 is what I ran. If I hit the marks a little better, or if you got somebody who's just a little faster than I am using this setup, I'm sure it'll get a little better than that. But I think that's a pretty respectable lap. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it makes your car go fast and you win a lot of races with it. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I say this in every video, but your support means so much to me. I love getting the comments back when somebody is pleased with the setup that I got, and I love seeing the subscriber base grow. So please do me a huge favor and like and subscribe. It means a great deal to me when I see somebody's liked a video or that the subscriber base is growing. So thank you guys for the support. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and that this is a